Two is the National Weather Service. No confirmation of any tornado on the ground, but like Scotty was pointing out, several areas of rotation and right throughout Washington County, Missouri. It's been around Potosi and also Bates Camp, that area. And Scotty's zooming in for me right now, and you can see right over Potosi, all that red, not only heavy rain and lightning and that little twisting in the wind in that area, likely possibly even rain wrapped, which can be an issue. A lot of people might not even be able to see the little spin up tornado if there is one on the ground, but no confirmation of that, just radar indicated. And again, right through Potosi and then moving northeast, it looks like Park Hills and down in that area, this should move to your north and east, but we'll watch that for you. No extension of that tornado warning at this point. Again, that rotation clear now just to the east of Potosi. I'd still be in your safe shelter in this area where that tornado warning is in effect until 1:15 p.m. But that latest scan takes that rotation a little further to the east of the city of Potosi. I want to say they're pretty much in the clear there, but watch out, Bonne Terre, also a little bit of rotation in that. And again, it's moving off to the north and east at about 40 miles an hour, Scotty.
So, Jimmy, what we did here is we extended where this circulation is and where we think the tightest circulation is. Again, you have the circulation that's just off to the southeast of Shirley now, but the one that's around Potosi is the one that looks like it's more intense and tighter. We don't know if there's a tornado on the ground. That's out of, we don't know. But the potential is certainly there. That circulation is there. It is tightened up. What we've done is we've extended out that area farther to the east. Okay, there's no tornado warning for you in Jefferson County at this very moment. But if you're in Olympian Village, if you're down here in the Valley Mines area along Highway 67, you need to be thinking about this as coming towards you, and this storm having that history of rotation with it, looking severe, and the fact that there is this boundary down here, which whenever you get a boundary interacting with thunderstorms, you tend to accentuate that rotation and increase it. And so that's our concern here, that something's going to drop out of the sky here along this system as it's moving on towards the east and to the northeast. So you are getting already intense rainfall here in southern portions of Jefferson County. Probably some gusty winds in there too, around 30 to 40 miles per hour. But with that boundary kind of trying to work in here and that circulation that's just east of Potosi, that's going to ride right along the Valley Mine area just north of Bonne Terre and just kind of drift right along the St. Francis, Jefferson County line, and then potentially along the Jefferson-St. Genevieve County line. If it holds together and goes across the river, we'll be talking about southern portions of Monroe County in Illinois. So the reason we mentioned those additional counties out ahead is so you have time with this weather impact alert to be prepared to get to your safe place if this thing holds together and continues to move. You can see that circulation as it's evolved. Now, just looking at this last scan, it looks like the rotation's weakened a little bit. The winds there have weakened a little bit. You're not seeing as much bright green and bright red close together, but the storm is still rotating. Okay, and storms tend to cycle. And what we see them do when they cycle is you may have a tight rotation, maybe it drops a tornado, then that rotation eases a little bit, and then a few miles down the road, the rotation once again strengthens and intensifies. That's what our concern is right now. It's getting very close to being out of the tornado warning area here. You still have from about Highway 21 east over towards the Jefferson and St. Francis County line. The storm that still had that little signature we didn't really care for, just looking at it from a reflectivity point, doesn't show as much rotation here across portions of Jefferson County. But this storm is headed in that general direction. So again, we're giving you kind of the early heads up on this as to what might be coming. And that includes for those of you around Blackwell, around Valley Mines, over towards Oakville. I don't know that we'll get it as far north as Vineland. You may get up here towards Hillsborough, up towards Olympian Village. Again, the metro area right now, this is just normal thunderstorm action in the metro area. Yes, it's pouring. Yes, there's a lot of lightning. Yes, there may be some gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles per hour, perhaps. But this is just normal thunderstorm action around the metro St. Louis area. Farther to the south is where we had a boundary. The front itself is coming into St. Louis right now. We had a boundary, kind of this renegade boundary that was out ahead of that was drifting to the south, and it's along that boundary as it's interacted with these storms pulling in out of the Ozarks and moving across Washington County, where potentially we've had that rotation. And you know, we've got the rotation here showing up east of Potosi. That's going to be in the rain. So if there were a tornado there, it would be pretty much in the middle of the rain. So you're not going to be able to, you know, not that we want you to walk outside and look on the deck and on the back porch and look off and see what you see, but you're not going to be able to see it here because it's raining so hard. So again, there's a lot going on with this storm and that rotation there. And there was some additional rotation back to the west. That looks like as it's coming up towards Potosi, that's kind of weakened a little bit. But again, these storms tend to cycle. The air south of St. Louis is in a better environment for strong to severe thunderstorms, and that's why we have that tornado warning ongoing right now. And again, you see the rotation there. You see the reds and the greens. It has broadened. It's gotten bigger, okay? So when it gets bigger like that, the storm's rotating. It's definitely spinning, but not necessarily tight enough to be producing a tornado. The other thing that we have seen through the course of the last hour or two is we've seen the cloud bases come down. And that's one of the things you need. You need to get the clouds lower to the ground in order to be able to get any rotation out of the cloud to get to the ground. So now we've lowered the cloud bases there. So these are the areas to watch down to our south. Pop the regular radar back on there and you can see.
And Scotty, one more thing. So given the weakening trends of the storm that you and I have been seeing, they're not planning on issuing a downstream warning at this point in time. But they'll keep the current tornado warning continuing and watching the storm carefully.
Yeah, and they are saying that, you know, it's pouring in Potosi. The ham radio operators are like the visibility is less than 1/8 of a mile, and a lot of lightning there. Also, same sort of thing in Fredericktown, but no damage reports coming out of either one of those areas at this point. So again, there's a lot of intense thunderstorms here down to the south of St. Louis. There are some even in the metro area. That tornado warning here, eastern portions of Washington County, they'll let that expire. They'll keep it going right now. But at the moment, they're not planning on doing any downstream tornado warnings. And they're trimming it up so that it's really right there from Potosi and on to the east over towards the St. Francis County line. And then that's about it for that tornado warning. Now, if the storm starts intensifying again, if that circulation starts intensifying, then again north of Bonne Terre and Valley Mines and south of Olympian Village, then you need to be mindful of that. But right now we're not seeing rotation really that's standing out in southern portions of Jefferson County. Just a tremendous amount of rain and a tremendous amount of lightning in those areas as well.
Scotty, checking the power outages. So Washington County, Missouri, only 1 without power. You get down to Reynolds County, 76 without power. None in Iron County, and then looking at St. Francis County, none at this point. So that's some good news. We're not hearing of any damage. We're not hearing that a tornado actually touched down. And power outages are minimal.
Yeah, power outages being minimal is a good sign because that, of course, means that, power outages traditionally lag maybe 10 or 15 minutes. A lot of times we don't get damage reports. Sometimes it's a half an hour, sometimes it's an hour after a severe thunderstorm rolls through. And that's because the first responders who are dealing with that don't have time to get on the phone and talk to the weather service about it. So the front's coming into St. Louis. Just wanted to show you the overall big picture. It's raining up Highway 61 all the way up to Bowling Green right now. It's not pleasant going from St. Louis back out to Columbia, but it's not severe. This is rain. This is heavier thunderstorm action. Your 1 tornado warning down here across portions of Washington County. And then you have more thunderstorms that are developing down into southern portions of Monroe County, into Jefferson County here. They're spreading into northern portions of St. Francis County. Some pretty intense thunderstorms still down here across Iron and Madison, even Reynolds County. You've had them go through, but it's still raining there. Still raining back in Rolla, although it's trying to let up a little bit. And I think these storms, as I look down here at the storms, in Madison County, Yeah, there's a couple of them that are pretty intense. They're about ready to slide into western portions, and they are sliding into western portions of Perry County in Missouri. So again, along and west of 55, that area there. But as far as the severe weather threat, not so much so in the metro area, but farther to the south is where our potential for severe weather exists here as we head into this afternoon. And again, Fredericktown, you're getting some of that heavy rain right now, maybe even some small hail. The ham operators were reporting visibilities down around 1/8 of a mile in Potosi with that heavy rainfall. So we know if there was anything rotating in there, it likely was involved with the rain, and in the rain, you're not going to be able to see something coming at you off in the distance with that. All right, here's the latest on the velocities. And again, this really shows you what we're talking about. If you look and follow this line here, there was a boundary coming down, and that boundary was intersecting that storm, and that did spike up that rotation close to Potosi. That has since eased quite a bit. There's still rotation within this storm. There's several areas that are rotating, but it's not tight. It doesn't look like we're dealing with a significant severe weather scenario there. But there are still some gusty winds here, and that boundary is making its way into northern portions of St. Genevieve County and northern St. Francis County. Anytime we have a boundary that's put down and it interacts with a storm, that enhances that storm's ability to twist the air and to get that twisting ongoing and putting it into a mode where it can produce a tornado. So that's where our greatest concern has been over the last half hour or so when we've been watching that boundary sliding in. The front's into St. Louis, metro area, just seeing rain right now. And you saw, boom, you see the bright green showing up there. You're looking at Lambert right now. It's pouring out there at Lambert at this hour. And we continue to see the heavy rain around the metro area, but no severe weather in metro St. Louis right now. We're not dealing with severe weather in St. Louis, all to the south. And that tornado warning is going to expire. Was it run till 1? Is that what they
Actually,
did?
1:15, but I wouldn't doubt if they actually let that expire.
They'll probably
early.
let that go. They've trimmed it up to that very small area. And as long as that boundary is not interacting with what we're seeing here from Park Hills and Bonne Terre and then down towards Farmington, you're not going to see spinning storms. You're just going to see, a good old-fashioned storm.
It's officially canceled.
Okay, so the tornado warning's officially canceled. It just went away. And the severe thunderstorm warning just went away. So they're not going to replace any more severe thunderstorm warnings, not issuing anything else at this point. Did Ben and Melissa, I know Melissa's on the warning desk today.
Yes, it looks like Ben definitely and Melissa.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they've let that all go, and it doesn't look like we're going to get the downstream warnings at this point. Now, I know we're in usually paid programming at this point from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. So I tell you what we're going to do, because we've already gone through half of our paid programming. So why don't we just stay here and chat with you as these storms evolve until 1 o'clock this afternoon, assuming that we don't have any additional problems coming our way. But we'll talk about this going up until 1 o'clock this afternoon, making an executive decision, and then at 1 o'clock we'll go to NBC Now, and you guys can talk to me as you need to and tell me what's going on. So here's our broad picture. And again, I know it's pouring in St. Louis. All of our cameras are showing the heavy rain pushing in. We've got it at the airport, probably some flight delays with the lightning around. But what we're seeing on the northern side of this, not anything to be overly concerned about. There's Farmington right now. You're going to get some of the rain in just a little bit in Farmington. Highland, you got to wait for just a little bit to get there, but it'll happen. There's a look out over Forest Park, and you can actually see the raindrops starting to fly there.
Lambert.
And yeah,
There's a good-
and so yeah, it's one of those days where we had the thunderstorms early this morning. Might have awakened you, woke me up. I checked the radar, checked the 5 on Your Side app. Everything's fine, just normal weather, typical thunderstorms. But it did kind of make the morning commute a little sloppy. Now, these storms around the metro area are not severe. Farther south, they are strong. Look at all that lightning you're seeing now. A lot of electricity with these storms as you head from southern Jefferson County down into eastern Washington County, into St. Francis County, as well as Iron County right now, and also down as you go farther to the south into Madison County, Missouri. A lot of tremendous lightning down here. That's where we're finding our heaviest rainfall at the moment. We don't seem to get many reports of hail. Haven't heard a whole lot about hail with these storms. So that doesn't seem to be our biggest concern. Our biggest concern has been the wind and also the potential that those winds would start rotating within a storm and with the boundaries around create something that could be spinning. Now, as you see here, that boundary is making its way into northern portions of St. Francis County, and it's making its way into northern portions of St. Genevieve County. So as that boundary is sliding into these areas, and as the thunderstorms are sliding in from the west, there's still going to be that potential that something spins up. More likely than not, if that happens, it happens quickly, and most likely it will be north of Farmington, over towards Bloomsdale, along Highway 32 here, going out of St. Genevieve, and to the north, we would think, where you might see some sort of circulation if it were to spin along that boundary now as it's working into that area. So these are the areas of greatest concern here this afternoon, down to our south and southeast. Again, St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Madison County were taken out of the severe thunderstorm watch. So our severe thunderstorm watch really is for the areas off to the south and to the southeast of St. Louis as we head into this afternoon. And Sonia, that sounded like you in my ear a few minutes ago. You just tell me when our out time is if we don't have tornado warnings, and we'll get you out when you, all righty. And so Vandalia, Salem, you still have that severe thunderstorm watch. It has not been issued yet farther east. So once we get to Clay County, that's Lincoln's responsibility up in central Illinois. Jefferson County in Illinois, that is Paducah's responsibility. So we have it for the St. Louis County warning area and part of Paducah's area. If these storms continue to roll along and maintain their intensity and the environment is favorable for that to continue as it goes towards the Wabash River and towards the Ohio River, then the Storm Prediction Center may coordinate and issue a new severe thunderstorm watch for those areas as we go into the rest of the afternoon. But St. Louis County, the city of St. Louis, Madison County, no severe threat there. It's limited as you get into St. Clair County and northern Monroe County, but southern Monroe County, southern Jefferson County, and especially St. Francis, St. Genevieve, you got a new severe thunderstorm warning just for that northeast corner of Madison County in Missouri. That just got issued here just a few minutes ago. It looks like there might even be some hail with that storm. Probably going to get a downstream warning into Perry County in Missouri. If not, Perryville, you're going to get some pretty gusty winds, and you're going to end up seeing probably not only intense rain, but maybe some hail as well. Keep in mind, the air down here, farther to the south, they've had a little more opportunity to get a little bit warmer than what we've been able to do in the St. Louis metro area, and that's one of the things tending to fuel those storms. So east of Fredericktown, that's where there's that severe thunderstorm warning as that storm perks up a little bit. It does kind of include the very southeastern portion of St. Francis County and the very southwestern portion, if you will, of St. Genevieve County. So if it's moving northeast, and it is, that takes it over Perry County, maybe eclipse Randolph County if it holds together. The other thing that we have to watch when we're dealing with something like this is you have these strong storms here, and we have our strong storms to the north. Do they merge? And when storms start merging, sometimes one of two things can happen. When they merge, they usually either really perk up and get stronger, at least for a little bit, or they merge and completely fall apart. I vote for option two. We'll see what happens here, but we want you to be ready for anything down here because we have that boundary sliding in. And the way this storm is kind of surging in here across northern portions of St. Francis County, and as you're looking into northern central portions of St. Genevieve County, those are areas that we would watch and just focus things on. The other thing to note is we're starting to see cells develop out ahead of this main area of showers and thunderstorms too. That cell over in Sparta looks like it's forming right along that boundary as well. So, you know, anything that's along this boundary down to our south has that potential to have some spin with it. Just a quick look at the velocity here. These are the winds. So the radar can look in and see how the raindrops are moving, how things are spinning in a storm, and we can infer a lot from that. As we look at this. And yeah, there seems to be potentially, I think, are we on Paducah's radar here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're on Paducah's radar. So there's potentially a little rotation broad with this storm coming out of the Fredericktown area, heading over towards Perryville. But nothing that stands out where you have a lot of bright red, bright green together. You do have some of that brighter red showing up here in southern Jefferson County, so you may have some 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. That's impactful, but for severe thunderstorm, you need a 58 mile per hour wind gust or higher. You need hail that's 1 inch or larger, so that's quarter size, or you need a tornado. Those are the three things that we have as options for severe thunderstorms. You see those winds are showing up there between around 30 miles per hour. So I would suspect you're looking at 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts here, southern portions of Jefferson County, maybe a little stronger in a few places, but that would be about it. So again, just looking at that broad perspective right now, as you look at everything that's happening across the region, we're basically tracking all of these thunderstorms through St. Louis. We'll add the radar on here just for everybody, so everybody can see what's going on and what's happening in your area. You know, into Madison County, the rain's getting closer to Highland now. The rain's over in O'Fallon. It's in Belleville. Cahokia Heights getting downpours. Up along 270, can you imagine? It's always rough driving on 270 on the north side of St. Louis. And I'm sure right now with it pouring up by the airport and over Washington, Elizabeth, and Hanley, it's just coming down right now. So traffic's going to be slow because of this rain through the area as well. Plus, you're going to have ponding on the roads. Not severe in St. Louis. We watch as these larger thunderstorms and stronger thunderstorms move off to the east and to the northeast. And you see the lightning count there. In just this area over about the last 15 minutes, we're talking, and the lightning counter's catching up with itself, you know, several hundred strikes. It looks like 401 there. Let's see if it comes up again, the number 537. So I feel like we're having a bidding war with our lightning strikes here. But southern portions of Jefferson County, now getting a lot of lightning here, starting to develop into southern portions of Monroe County. So this is south of Waterloo, but Waterloo, you're going to get some heavy rainfall too. And that's spreading over towards New Athens, over towards Red Bud, Freeburg, Illinois. You've got the storm here in Sparta. Our friends over in Nashville, Oakville, you're going to get in on this as well. And eventually, as this slides towards the east and to the northeast, because remember, our cold front is just coming in from the north too. So that's two boundaries we're dealing with. As that cold front comes in, you know, it could enhance some of these thunderstorms off to the east and southeast of St. Louis. Right now, the only severe thunderstorm we have is the one that was coming out of far northeastern Madison County, sliding towards Perry County, sliding towards southeastern St. Francis County, southern portions of St. Genevieve County. Looks like there's a little hail in there. It looks like the storm north of Perryville is probably a little more intense there. But what we're not really seeing is any rotation in that, just potentially some gusty winds, 40 to 60 miles per hour, marginally severe hail up to about the size perhaps of a quarter, and that's sliding off towards the east and to the northeast. So this is the area, and I'm imagining, you know, it's still pouring here down in Ironton, it's still pouring in Farmington. You still have the decent rain here, cooler, but decent rain here back across Washington into Crawford counties. With the hilly terrain to our south and southwest, watch those low water crossings. We don't want you driving through those if they rapidly jump up, and those creeks and streams will jump a bit. And Jimmy, how about we hit that home button on that, and we'll just get one big last wide view of this as we kind of count it down to the end of this coverage, and then we will see you on 5+. We will stream this afternoon on 5+ as these storms continue to move on. The severe thunderstorm watch in effect east and south of St. Louis. That's in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Once this line of storms goes through, what's behind it is not severe. So you don't have to worry about severe weather farther to the west. We don't have to worry about severe weather in St. Louis, ponding on the roads. But we will be watching this area, southern St. Clair County into Monroe County, Randolph County, Illinois, Perry, and then St. Genevieve, St. Francis, southern Jefferson County in Missouri, and then we just kind of slide that east, Clinton and Washington counties, and then eventually over towards Bond and then the Interstate 57 corridor. You're watching 5 on your side. We are in a weather impact alert this afternoon, and we will see you streaming momentarily on 5+.
After an accident, get the facts and help you.
We can see the boundary, but no signs of anything.
Well, that's
ready
good.
To go.
Let me see if this mic is plugged in there.
Perfect.
So, all right, so here we are on 5+, and we're continuing our coverage this afternoon. If we get additional tornado warnings, we will pop back on TV as well. Right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning we have is for that cell that is almost out of Madison County, coming into portions of Perry County in Illinois. Now, I know it is pouring around St. Louis right now. We have the rain, we have the thunder. Let's add the lightning in here for you. And when we pop that lightning on, man alive, look at all the strikes down here with that cell. This is the one that had that circulation with it as it was coming across Washington County and went right over Potosi. Now it's rolled right over the St. Genevieve, St. Francis, Jefferson County line, and you're getting that lightning now. Park Hills into Bonne Terre, Bloomsdale really picking up. A lot of lightning down there as well across northeastern portions of Madison County. Again, This is more of a typical severe thunderstorm warning, just the base, 1-inch hail possible, maybe some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. Lightning around the metro St. Louis area, sure, we have it. We also have rain rolling through right now, but none of this is severe around the immediate metro area. Our big focus is going to be for areas off to the south and southeast of St. Louis here over the next couple of hours. Now, when I take the lightning back off, and we go in and we look down here to the south, these storms are moving off to the east and to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So just to, the one that's near Sparta, this one is a concern, moving northeast. And I say it's a concern because it's out here by itself. And when storms are out by themselves like that, they have full access to all of the air that is full of ingredients. Hasn't been contaminated by anything like the air back here where we're dealing with storms that are competing with each other, fighting with each other for the amount of energy. This one is out here by itself. So it has the perfect flow going into it to keep it sustained. So Swanwick there in Perry County in Illinois, Oakdale, Nashville, eventually over here towards, you're getting to Centralia and Salem eventually with this. Mount Vernon about 204 on the time for that, and Nashville about 122. So in just a little bit. It's not a severe thunderstorm at this point. It's a strong thunderstorm, but it's out by itself. And because it's out by itself and a loner, if you will, that's one of the reasons why we tend to be a little more concerned about those types of storms. Now, when we look at the last hour or so, and just kind of moving this down a little bit where the strongest storms are, you can see that across much of Monroe County, you're getting more drenching rains. I know that's not what the farm fields need right now. Our farm fields are pretty damp, and it's going to be hard to work this ground over the next couple of days, probably until next week, assuming it dries out again. So our farmers, they have to deal with the weather. These storms are not severe, but they're strong, down 55 here. Once you get south of Arnold and going down towards Festus, heading down towards Bloomsdale, down towards the St. Genevieve exit, all the way down to Perryville, you run into some pretty intense rain at times on 55. You've seen the rain let up some along 67, except in that area around Valley Mines and points just to the north of there. So it looks to me like that severe thunderstorm that was down there in northeast Madison County, the bulk of the worst of that has moved over into Perry County. And the National Weather
tornado
Service,
warning now. Yep.
Up tornado warning here. Okay, so John, are you back in there? So this is where we're seeing that circulation right now,
We need to go on
where
the
this
air, for sure.
storm is surging out. So this tornado warning is for St. Genevieve County and goes over into Randolph County at this moment. So John,
Yes.
you let me know whenever you want to go, and we will go, and we will go with that, and we'll get right in here.
Okay,
All
moving
right.
northeast to 35.
Okay, so that's moving northeast at 35. Let's see if we can find that circulation.
So over Bloomsdale, or 9 miles
Yeah.
northwest of St. Genevieve.
Yeah, it looks like it's right in this area. We're going to get in there. All right, let me get the...
And
Okay,
until
I'm
1:45, 1:45 p.m.
And we're ready. So tornado warning till 1:45. New tornado warning just issued by the National Weather Service. This one will run until 1:45. It includes St. Genevieve County and over across the Mississippi into Randolph County. So St. Genevieve County, Missouri, Randolph County, Illinois. This storm near Bloomsdale starting to show some signs where it's spinning. Remember, we were talking about this earlier, and if you were with us on 5+, you know that boundary was kind of sagging into the south as these storms are moving off towards the north and to the northeast. And so now we have that circulation there. We're going to pop the winds on here, and let's do the storm velocity. So we can kind of get an idea. You've got an area here where there is some rotation ongoing. And like we saw with what we had earlier, down in Washington County, when this storm was back to the west, you probably got an area here pretty close to Bloomsdale and maybe another area down to the south of that where there's also the potential that we're starting to see some spinning here. And we have to watch on the northern side of this thing too. So these storms have a history as they interact with that boundary of creating problems. So let's give you a track on this as to where we anticipate it going. It's moving about 40 miles per hour. So we're going to take it, I'm going to give you kind of the broad track of how this is. Here's our towns. Zell, St. Genevieve, you got maybe 10 minutes before, if this is rotating and if it moves right over St. Genevieve, got about 10 minutes. Evansville, across the river, Old Kaskaskia, Walsh. You know, now you're talking about getting over here into Randolph County and along Highway 3. This does include Interstate 55, and that's Zell right there along Interstate 55. That's Highway 32 going out of St. Genevieve, heading down towards Farmington. So that circulation somewhere in that area around Zell up to Bloomsdale right now, okay? And it is moving off towards the east and northeast. Now, I also want to let you know that as we broaden this out, that's our tornado warning until 1:45. That tornado warning includes St. Genevieve and into Randolph counties. And again, we're seeing some rotation, circulation within the storm. They tend to spin up. There's a boundary interacting with this cluster of storms as it's been moving out of the Ozarks here during the course of the last couple of hours.
Okay,
but what I want you to see around St. Louis, we have all of this rain around the St. Louis area. None of this is severe. So right now, if you're in Belleville, if you're in Troy, Illinois, if you're at Alton, if you're back in St. Charles, if you're in Warrenton, no severe weather threat there. This is all just rain. As we go farther to the south, these are the storms that we're more concerned about. This is where the severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect down to the south of St. Louis. And these storms do have that history of trying to spin things up. Jimmy, what are they saying on a NWS chat there? Are they saying anything new?
You know what, just radar indicated rotation, movement east at 35. And again, we've had no reports of any damage at this point. But the tornado warning again around the St. Genevieve County area into Randolph County in Illinois until 1:45 p.m.
Okay. So as I'm looking at this right now, and again, I mentioned earlier, storm that's over Sparta right now is out here by itself. So those storms we have to watch closely because it's out in an environment where it's not competing with everything else. So the tornado warning, the circulation showing up pretty close to Bloomsdale. This is from a different vantage point. We're looking now from Paducah back towards this area. And again, showing some signs of rotation in there. Could be imminent that a tornado would drop out of the sky, but it's certainly not a guarantee. Now,
it looks like two little areas of rotation, Bloomsdale and then Rocky Ridge. So they're watching two little areas.
Okay, yeah. And I think you can, when we look at it here, so this is back on the St. Louis radar. And we will switch back and forth to radars depending on you know, how we zoom in on the maps. That's how this works. But Paducah looks at it from the south. The National Weather Service in St. Louis, which is at Weldon Spring in the Research Park, is looking at it from the northwest. So you've got this area here that's pretty close to Zell. I also have this area here, it looks like, that's trying to nudge across the river as well. You know, in this type of scenario, and now it's a confirmed tornado. So they have observed it one way or the other, and let's go see if it's because of radar indicated. And I'm not going to say that I can see it off of this because I don't, but somebody must have reported it. So they have gone with an observed tornado warning, so that is now where you have
It looks like a funnel cloud southeast of Bloomsdale, so maybe it might not be touching the ground, but a funnel cloud.
Okay, so
southeast of Bloomsdale.
So they've already gone ahead and done an observed on that. Let's do this. And it's also possible that we were seeing something from the Paducah radar site here a second ago. So there's that area of Zell over towards Clement and going towards St. Genevieve. So this is potentially in this area, that circulation potentially in this area. What we're going to do is, first of all, if you're in this area, you need to be in your safe place. as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and you're on the lowest floor. If you have a basement, that's great. You go to the basement. If you don't have a basement, then we're looking at walls, you know, a hallway. You got the outer walls, the hallway walls, maybe a closet, extra walls, maybe a bathroom that's an interior. You don't want any windows around, and you want to make sure you're wearing your shoes, just in case something touches down and causes damage. And Lord knows we've seen a lot of that happen so far this year. Let's look at the wind here and the velocity data, kind of doing it in a couple of different ways, and just looking at what we see, because we are exploring this just like the National Weather Service is, kind of looking at the data. I'm going to try to back up here and see if I can get it out of Paducah. I've got to go down here and see what Paducah will say. And I'm not really, if I look really close, I can see something right there just south of Bloomsdale. So it looks like that's what they're probably looking at and what they're probably seeing, but they do it as a confirmed or an observed tornado now. I don't know that they're going to have anything on the debris tracker here. We'll pop it back just a little bit and see if there's anything that shows up. But this is really high looking from both the radar down in Paducah as well as the radar out of St. Louis. So let's go back to the St. Louis.
Yeah,
radar.
again, weather spotters reported a funnel cloud southeast of Bloomsdale, and no report of it actually touching the ground yet, but that is a formation of a tornado, and it's moving east at about 30.
Okay, and as we look, you know, there's nothing that shows us that debris has been lofted into the air. So that's the good news. But if you're in the path of this storm, and I'm going to give you a track, and I might be a little fast on my track, but this is kind of where the areas of circulation are. So let's pull this out. Okay, St. Genevieve, 123 now. Evansville, 127. Over to Walsh at 134. Okay, so we're crossing the river. We're going into Monroe County, out of St. Genevieve County. The Mississippi River, sometimes there's tugboats that go along there. Occasionally we actually get some pictures of, well, I've seen pictures of the tornadoes crossing the Mississippi River from some of the tugboat operators. I don't know if that's going to happen today or not, but that's where we're watching that circulation kind of tracking. Now, if you're in the polygon here, a little farther to the south, we still want you in your safe place. There's no reason why, you know, something can't spin farther to the south too along this line of storms. Outside of that, I think it's mainly a rain and lightning threat versus the tornado threat. So when we clear this off and we add in the lightning for you, I want you to see how much lightning there is. There's tremendous amount of lightning with this storm, okay? And that's also an indicator sometimes of hail. Sometimes it's an indicator of just the storm's sheer strength. But it's kind of focused here in the northern portions of St. Genevieve County and then over right along the Monroe and Randolph County lines. So this area here from St. Genevieve over towards Evansville. Tornado warning doesn't include Sparta, but in Sparta, again, we have that very large storm system you're seeing there, that very big cell by itself out here. And while that doesn't have anything on it, there's definitely some spin within that cell. So that's, that cell is, you know, something to definitely watch because it's by itself, and it's also interacting with that boundary that's getting in there. So we're just kind of backing it up a little bit. You can see how that's been evolving, and it seems to be intensifying. Tornado warning, though, St. Genevieve County and heading across the river into Randolph County in Illinois. The warning does include Prairie du Rocher. It includes Evansville. It includes all along Route 3 here, and also includes 55 once you get out of Bloomsdale down through Zell. Now, I think that circulation's kind of pushing towards the Mississippi River at this point, and will slide across the river. You have a lot of farmland down in this area, so it's not an overly populated area, which we are happy about that at this moment, because you don't want an overly populated area when you're dealing with the potential of tornadoes. You really want it to be over a farm field versus anywhere else. I'd say that circulation's pretty close to St. Genevieve, or maybe up just north of St. Genevieve right now. But again, this is just, you know, looking at the radar image, it looks like there might be something up there around Evansville too. But again, if you're in the path of this, there's Roots Road on off Highway 3. You're going towards Walsh here. So there's Roots Road, there's Ellis Grove. This is Walsh Road going out of New Palestine, Shoe Line Road. This is where a couple of those circulations potentially will be sliding in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. So that's why we have the tornado warning in effect for those areas at this point. That's St. Genevieve County. Does include, it's right there at Chester, kind of includes that area, includes Kaskaskia Island. But I think the circulations are more on the northern side of this because that's where that boundary was coming down from the north and interacting with that storm. And boundaries and storms, when they interact, are not great. We're pulling this back out for you. Quick reset. There is a look at the metro area. It's pouring around St. Louis right now. We know that. Nothing is severe around the metro area. We've lost a lot of our lightning and okay, and from earlier, when this storm was in Washington County, we're now getting word that wind blew the roof off of a school somewhere in Washington County. And I don't know where yet. We're working on getting that information. But we do know that there was damage from this part of the storm as it was in Washington County and moving northeast. So that's this whole cluster of storms here. Keep in mind, when these things were back in southwest Missouri this morning, early in the, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, they were producing tornadoes around Springfield, and we were looking at wind gusts. I think Springfield 91 mile per hour wind gusts.
And I've noticed too the power outages in Washington County about 445, so that is an uptick from earlier. So that's a sign that there probably is a little bit of damage.
Yeah, so there's
there.
at least some damage down here. So this is an observed tornado. We had a spotter reported it there, and you can see the storm moving across 55 right now, moving. Okay, and we know that that damage report now is from Potosi in Washington County. We just don't know exactly what school it was in Potosi at this point. You got to feel for the folks in Washington County after, 314 day, having all of the damage from those storms go through as well. It has been a very rough storm season, and that's part of the reason why we're here with you this afternoon. Not only do we have a tornado warning, and we want you to be safe here down in St. Genevieve and into Randolph County, but also we know that there's a lot of storm anxiety across the area because of the spring we have had and the damage we've had and the rough, severe weather. And we understand that. So we're not here to alarm you, we're not here to scare you, but we're here hopefully to help you through this afternoon. We're all going to get through it. And, these storms will be out in a couple of hours. And the rain will wind down in a couple of hours. Now, we'll still stay on our weather impact alert as there could be more development before everything's said and done. So now they're going to trim that box up. The circulation's getting closer to the Mississippi River, and they're going away from the observed back to a regular tornado.
Right, there you go, because the funnel cloud, and that should not have been observed, actually.
Okay.
And so that's what Ben Herzog said, that it might be a software malfunction.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, and that's, somehow that everybody has been through a software upgrade on a computer system. Let's go right there. You can see this storm, though, as you look. This is the last hour, and we're actually looking at the rainfall, and you can see the storm itself, the whole thing, as it's coming over Prairie du Rocher. The whole storm, as big as it is, the whole storm is rotating here. And within that, you have the circulations that get spun out ahead of that and potentially create a tornado, or in some cases, in the right circumstances, I'm not sure this is that right circumstance, you could have something dropping down back in that rain-wrapped area. But this is still a very impressive looking storm as it's coming off towards the east. We look at the winds in here, and so we're looking at that area, that whole area that's spinning there with inside the storm in a broad rotation has 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. I'd say there's definitely some sort of circulation in here that's not too far from Evansville. And we'd also watch that area that's right down here, just to the south and just to the east of St. Genevieve. Those look like prime areas where we may have a bit more of a circulation there. Keep in mind, the radar beam, as it goes out, because the Earth is curved, the radar beam shooting straight out. So by the time it gets out into this area, it's pretty high up in the sky. So we don't get to sample the storm at its, we get the lowest level, but not necessarily the low level. All right, want to look at this thing here. This is the one that's over northeastern portions of Randolph County, and that's about ready to go into Perry County. Remember, this is the cell that's over here by itself. This just kind of grabbed my eye because we look at that and I see some tighter rotation. So if you're in Coulterville right now or in this area, I know Swanwick is technically in the Paducah, Cape Girardeau viewing area, but we have some folks that watch on 5+ down here. If you're in this area, that's along Illinois Route 13. I'm going to suggest, just out of an abundance of caution, because I didn't like what I saw there, that you folks along Willie Road, along towards Coulterville, up towards Nashville Road. This is eventually going to get into Washington County, but this is out in the Swanwick area, Coulterville, and then going up here as you get into Washington County, there's Oakdale. This is an area I think we need to be concerned about as well. There's no warning on this at this point, but when you look at this with the winds, and that's a pretty tight circulation there. And it also looks like it's in a favorable spot right in there where we may be having a little bit of a hook, which is more of a supercell type storm. So it's pretty close to me saying, hey, I just don't like the looks of it. Since it's out here by itself, this storm by itself, I don't like the looks of it. There is not a tornado warning or any kind of warning on this, but if you're in Coulterville to Swanwick, up to McKinley, and then up to Oakdale, I want you to kind of just go ahead and at least navigate inside and away from windows and doors, because that storm definitely looks to me like it has some potential. Let's look at our tornado warned storm here. Once again, we're getting messy. A lot of heavy rain in here. These storms are all competing with each other. You're looking, this is Illinois Route 3 and then 155. St. Genevieve, I think the circulation's probably gone across the river or just to your south at this point. Storm structure is still there. It's still a pretty intense storm. But when it comes to looking at the actual wind and finding circulations in there, it becomes more nebulous, much more nebulous. I think you got something here just east of St. Genevieve and maybe something just east and southeast of Evansville. The one just east of St. Genevieve actually is kind of the area that I would be a little more concerned about. And that's pretty close to Ellis Grove. So again, remember we talked about routes and Ellis Grove up to Evansville, Route 3, this is Walsh Road. These are areas, a lot of farmsteads in here, okay? Beautiful farm country down across much of Randolph County in Illinois. But right now, there is that potential that there's something rotating as the storm moves to the east. It could produce a tornado at any time. That includes Shoe Line Road. Let's put a track on it and broaden the view out just a little bit. The areas where we see this, and I'm doing it, it may not be moving quite at 40 miles per hour. And I'm going to keep it out of interfering with the other storm because we're going to track that one in a minute. But it's almost into Evansville, Steelville, Illinois. You're not in that warning. The warning stops here, but that circulation potentially going farther to the east towards Sparta at 143. So that's just kind of your timing here, Walsh to Sparta to Percy, Illinois, over the next few minutes. All right, now, what I want to do.
Thank you.
Is look up here, because now it looks like maybe it let up a little bit in its circulation, but this storm, when we look at that thing that's over Coulterville right now, that is something that one is a little concerning. So just if there is a circulation there, and let's just say if, because we don't know, I'm doing a fine track just to let you know. McKinley up to Pilot Knob. This probably gets close or just south of Nashville in Illinois, okay? If there is something there, I don't know that there is, but that storm is, it's had something rotating with it. And now you see we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning extended east of that tornado warning. So that new severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Randolph County. Once again, we're going to broaden out the view here.
No new tornado warnings?
Nope. They're going to, I don't know if that has a tornado possible tag.
Let's see.
But that,
yes, it does.
yeah,
It does.
so it does have a tornado possible tag. Again, here's your broad picture around the entire metro St. Louis area. Still seeing some rain, still looking at some thunder here back to our west. That should be the back edge of this. The potential of severe weather is really out here to the east and then down to the southeast of St. Louis in this air that is still unstable and is able to keep these thunderstorms going. And they had some momentum. When they came out of southwest Missouri, you get thunderstorms that are producing 70 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. That's momentum. And so they're building on some of that and then working into this unstable environment here. So we know we have the tornado warning here that's going out of St. Genevieve County and over into Randolph County. It has been, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued downstream of that. And Kay, I know you're trying to get some information here, and you have some new information about when this storm went through Potosi just a little while ago.
Yes. Scott, 1 hour ago, around 12:29, when you were telling us about that rotation and the possible tornado, we now have reports of damage that happened in Potosi in Washington County involving Potosi Elementary School. Apparently, a building across the street from the elementary school was blown over in that event. The school itself sustained minor damage. All the children, all the teachers and staff are safe. They were able to get into the FEMA shelter there and seek shelter from the storm. But we do know minor damage to Potosi Elementary School. We can confirm as well one broken window on a car, and apparently the AC unit was knocked off the roof by the strong winds there. And at this point, we have a crew on the way. Again, all the students, staff, and teachers are safe. We're working to learn much more about this building that was blown apart across the street, or blown over are the words that are being used. And we're not sure exactly what was in that building or if there were people in the building. We are in touch with the police chief in the area, and he is giving us information. We will have much more available as soon as we get that information into the newsroom. We'll also have it online at ksdk.com. But again, recapping, about 12:29, Potosi Elementary School suffered minor damage. A building across the street was blown over. Teachers, school, and staff were able to get into the FEMA shelter. No one's been hurt, and we'll bring you much more as we get it, Scott.
Yeah, and the important thing there is no one's been hurt. And that's the good news. And that's the way we want to keep it with these thunderstorms as they're rolling off to the east. So we still have that tornado warning for a little while longer here as we work into Randolph County. Looks like that circulation's mostly over into Randolph County right now. And the extension of that is a severe thunderstorm warning that goes over for the rest of Randolph County at this point. Now, you look into southern portions here of St. Clair County, eastern portions of Monroe County, and up into southern portions of Washington County in Illinois now, the other Washington County. That cell that's been coming out of Coulterville, moving towards the northeast, at the very least it has some small hail with it, but it also still looks like it's showing some supercellular characteristics there where it wants to spin. And again, this area is an area that we want to be cautious about because of that potential that something could be spinning there and sliding to the northeast into Washington County. So that was near the Swanwick area, just north and west of Swanwick. Now, as we look at the winds down here, we're in the tornado warned storm. Again, a couple of circulations, potentially one that's on the north side of this and maybe one that's a little farther to the south too, as this is going across portions of mostly Randolph County, but still some of it in eastern portions of St. Genevieve County. I'd bet the worst of this is probably just north right there, just off Kaskaskia Island and just north of Chester, sliding towards the east. But again, it doesn't look like we have the tightest circulation in there, but enough to where we do have the severe thunderstorm warning as an extension of that tornado warning for the rest of Randolph County. And again, we're going to watch that storm that's working its way now out of northeastern Randolph County into northwestern portions of Perry County in Illinois, and that's the one that's going to go into Washington County. So those are the areas here southeast of St. Louis where we have our greatest concerns. Now, it's pouring from New Athens, it's pouring in Red Bud right now. I mean, you're getting a drenching rain here, but I think our severe weather threat, once this line goes through, the severe weather threat is pretty much over. So it's this leading edge where we're encountering the very warm, humid air that's been able to recover after this morning's showers and thunderstorms. That cell still has our attention. Coming out of Randolph County into northwestern Perry County. This cell that's coming out of Perry County that's going to head into Jackson County and impact the area around SIU Carbondale. That's one to watch too, because these cells have air out ahead of them that is conducive to get severe thunderstorms ramped up. Again, for the metro area, it's just rain. No severe weather around Metro St. Louis. None has been reported. In fact, the only damage we've had across our entire area that we're aware of, and again, we talked about this maybe an hour ago, damage reports tend to lapse a little bit because the people that are having to deal with the damage don't have time to make random phone calls to other folks. They're working on the ground to make sure everybody that was impacted is okay and safe. So that's why we sometimes don't get all of the information right away. There's your storms. Okay, this whole line's advancing to the east. Embedded within that line, there are some of the storms that are trying to get some twisting going, trying to develop some tornadoes. None of that twisting is happening in the metro area. It's raining, we've cooled off, there's no severe weather for St. Louis. But nonetheless, it's raining here, and I just wanted you to see that. This goes up 55, going up to Litchfield. You're about to get into some of that rain. The rain's all the way up towards Bowling Green. It's starting to let up west of Warrenton right now. It's starting to ease a little bit going down 44, but still a few more showers back down towards Fort Leonard Wood that we have to get through. But the big focus has been for the areas southeast of St. Louis. And it looks like the National Weather Service just put up for southern portions of Perry County and then into Jackson County here, a new severe thunderstorm warning to account for this cell that's coming out of Perryville right now and moving off towards the east and northeast. Some gusty winds with that. And the potential that, in the environment that we're in, that we're able to spin something up. Be it a brief tornado, be it, just a circulation that shows up that's transient. It comes, it goes. But if it touches down and causes damage, then that's a problem for you. I do think these storms are starting to weaken some across parts of Randolph County, which will take that as we're getting over east of Route 3 now. Any circulation should be along and to the east of Route 3, I think, at this point. Again, that one cell up to the north and northeast, that still is one that has our attention too.
Rotation on that one.
Yeah, going into
the tornado warning for St. Genevieve and even though it's moved out of that area, continues. I'm surprised they haven't canceled that one yet.
Yeah, they're going to trim it here in a few minutes. It expires, I think, in about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yes. 1:45.
So we're looking here, we kind of explore this together when we're looking for circulations. You get the green is towards the radar site, the red's away. When they're up against each other, it means, you're spinning. And so we look for that. Now, this is broad. These are broad circulations. They're not necessarily tight. And if you're going to get a tornado to drop down, you're going to have to get a tight circulation. And it has to get tight and then spin. The thing of it is, with this type of situation that we're looking at, where we've had that boundary kind of sagging in from the north, the actual cold front's still farther north, but we had this rogue boundary that was out ahead of it, probably left from some residual thunderstorms at some point. That was dropping southeast, and when it was interacting with these storms coming in from the west, that started those storms doing some spinning. So that's that was why we had our initial concern back into portions of Washington County during our noon newscast and what we were dealing with at that point with those storms. Now, we do want to go here, as this is kind of more along the cold front or just ahead of the cold front. We're coming out of the Kaskaskia River here south of Carlisle and going down across southern portions of St. Clair County. Much of the western half of Washington County has a driving rain right now. Okay, it is pouring rain. There may be some small hail. Certainly there's some gusty winds. This cell that was on the south, that was trying to rotate a little bit, you know, and it's entirely possible that what we saw, you know, could have been an artifact from the radar. But we saw it a few times. We're also seeing another cell bubbling up out here farther to the east. And so that's another area that we're watching for, because any of these cells that develop out by themselves, they have full access to the good air that's got the ingredients. And when you have the ingredients, then your potential's there for severe weather. So here's what we have going across right now, Washington County. No warning on this yet, but I suspect it's pretty close here, Lively Grove, and then going down towards Oakdale.
And the tornado warning is canceled now for Randolph County.
Okay, so they're gonna
there you go.
ixnay that and just leave the severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of Randolph County. And then that severe thunderstorm warning for the storm coming out of Perry County in Missouri is now going into Jackson and southern Perry County in Illinois. Not out of the question that we're going to get a few more of these storms that become strong to severe. They're already strong. It doesn't take much more for them to become severe. Our biggest concern is if anything starts rotating and the possibility that they drop out some isolated tornadoes. So as Kay just told you a few minutes ago, we know there was damage at the elementary school in Potosi and that the students were able to get to their FEMA storm shelter there, and everybody's safe, no injuries reported. And aren't you glad that some of our school districts have invested the money and the government was able to provide some money, some way, shape, or form for a lot of our school districts. Remember the Merrimack R3 school district with the Villa Ridge tornado, they opened it up to the community given how bad it was that night for people to seek shelter there. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we really don't even know about that end up down the road saving somebody's life. And so we're glad those things happen. That storm that's coming into Washington County and Illinois is indeed pretty intense right now, but not enough apparently to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to give you one last, Kay, have you been able to get any new information on anything? I'll let you recap in just a minute. And John, we'll be out of here at 1:45. We're going to go off at 1:45 unless there's another thing, another tornado warning. But just, Kay will recap what she knows from the news aspect of it here in just about a minute. But a metro area, just rain. Back edge starting to get closer. Strong storms, we're finding those strong storms down here along the Washington-Clinton County line, stretching over into Marion County. And again, some of these may produce some gusty winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour. We'll see if any of them start spinning and circulating. After we pause and get, you know, Channel 5 on TV back to NBC Daily or News Now or whatever that program is. And we have a cut in at 1:52 too. So we'll be back with another update on that, and we'll keep tracking these things. But I just got to tell you right now, metro area is fine. Down 55, you're fine. Okay, it's just rain. Any severe threat is in this cluster that's to the southeast of St. Louis right now, down into portions of St. Clair County, Washington, Clinton, over to Marion, Jefferson counties in Illinois, and that eastern portion of Randolph County, where the warning is, severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect. So we're going to wind it down in the metro area. So, Kay, I know the news department's gathering a lot of information out of Potosi and trying to get the very latest. Jimmy was telling us that, you know, some of the power outages did spike down that way. What more do we know at this point, other than there were no injuries? And that's what really that matters.
Scott, we know that all the students, staff, and teachers were able to get into the FEMA shelter, as you mentioned. But what the place we're talking about is Potosi Elementary School in Washington County, Missouri. About 12:30 this afternoon, either very strong winds or a tornado, that is yet to be determined, blew through the area. A building across the street from the school was knocked over. We don't know who was in that building, if there were any people, or what it was used for. We also know there was minor damage to the school. An AC unit was blown off the roof. A couple of windows broke on cars. So we have a crew on the way now to Potosi Elementary to get much more information for us. The good news is, Scott, no one was hurt, and that FEMA shelter was able to be used, and that is just excellent news out of all of this. The damage can be repaired.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can get the damage fixed, and they will. And the damage repairs are still ongoing after we had our multiple rounds of severe weather that we've dealt with so far this year, and that includes across Washington County in Missouri. So right now the focus is shifting to Washington County in Illinois. Our friends in Nashville will be getting some pretty intense winds, about 55 miles per hour perhaps, and an awful lot of heavy rainfall, maybe some hail. That's going to extend through Centralia and Salem for about the next hour. But so far, we're not seeing any indications here that we have much in the way of additional rotation, just some of these stronger storms. The rain's starting to ease a bit here as we look out towards the Westplex, coming into eastern portions of Warren County. You'll see it let up out here across Lincoln County too, and then eventually we'll push all of this out of the metro area during the course of the next couple of hours or so. But at this point, our only threat for severe weather is farther south of St. Louis. And the severe thunderstorm warning, when you look in eastern portions of Washington, I should say eastern portions of Randolph County there, this area here, it's still a pretty good storm, but it's not as intense as it was. Plus, we've got Nashville up here, not in a warning, but close to it, up towards Oakdale right now, and that is going to continue right on towards the east and the northeast. Of course, if you've got kids down at SIU Carbondale, they are looking at some of the intense weather as well. No tornado warnings right now. The rain will start wrapping up here in a little bit in St. Louis. This has been a weather impact alert special update for you on 5 on your side, and we'll be on 5+ off and on throughout the afternoon hours as we continue to monitor this, and an update coming your way in about 9 minutes with the latest that we know from Potosi.
That's Empire's Home Floor Advantage. Our flooring experts come to you so you can compare hundreds of samples in your home. Plus, you get clear, all-inclusive pricing with no surprises. It's our best sale of the year. Get up to 45% off your entire project. Call or visit EmpireToday.com and get the Home Floor Advantage. 800-588-2300 Empire.
This is Angela. This is a 5 on your side local news update.
Good afternoon. I'm Kay Quinn here with a look at your local headlines. We have a 5 on your side crew headed to Potosi right now in Washington County, where there are reports of damage from severe storms that blew through about an hour ago. The area is about an hour and a half away from St. Louis, and owner of Fit for Life says their dance studio across from Potosi Elementary School was blown away. We don't have any reports of injuries. That is the good news. All of the students, teachers, and staff were able to get to the FEMA storm shelter. Everyone is said to be safe at Potosi Elementary. Police Chief Michael Gum tells us much of the debris is now in the school parking lot. He says damage to the school was minor. An AC unit was knocked off the roof. A window was broken on a car door. And the school district has now announced, this information just in, that it will be releasing students early if parents want to pick them up. The superintendent has concerns about buses being able to get students home because of concerns about flash flooding. The area also got what appears to be several inches of rain in a very short time. But again, if you have a student at Potosi Elementary School, you are being asked to come pick them up, and they are being released early. We will have much more. As I said, we have a crew on the way to Potosi right now. Much more coming up on 5 on your side at 4, 5, and 6. Lightning strikes caused an apartment complex under construction to catch fire. This happened at the Latitude 38 construction site in Glen Carbon, Illinois overnight. The fire started about 4 in the morning. 10 fire departments, dozens of firefighters responded to the scene. It took a while for first responders to get there.
It's not an alarmed building at this time, so we weren't notified until somebody drove by and saw that the fire was actually burning. So kind of a little late to the game when it comes to that.
The real estate company says no other buildings in the complex were damaged. Firefighters will continue to monitor the situation all throughout the day. Stay with us. The weather impact forecast is next.
All right, weather impact alert continues. The only warning we have right now, at least in the viewing area, is a flash flood warning for Washington County in Illinois until about 4:45 p.m. So very heavy rain, very strong storms continue from Clinton, Washington counties, moving into Jefferson County in Illinois, and then tracking down to the south and east of Perry County now. Zooming in a little bit more, you can see that really heavy rain anywhere from Nashville, Sparta, DuQuoin, approaching DuQuoin, Fountain Bluff there, and a couple of warnings just outside of the viewing area. Nashville, you have that flash flood warning until 4:45. Rain continues back towards St. Louis, and again, some rumbles of thunder, nothing severe. So on the Missouri side, things are looking up, and that severe thunderstorm watch has been trimmed now mainly on the Missouri side, still up for Farmington eastward and Salem, Illinois southward until about 3 o'clock. And Weather Service will continue trimming that up for us. The front has actually moved through the St. Louis area, still watching those storms to the south and east. And of course, we'll have a full update coming up. Let's check out that 7-day forecast. Still a chance of showers and storms in here as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Both days, a potential of seeing isolated severe cells, very heavy rain, frequent lightning, and then by the weekend we clear up.
All right, everybody, want to get you caught up on what's going on here. We have a couple of new severe thunderstorm warnings. They were off to the east and southeast of St. Louis. So that's what we're looking at right now. No tornado warnings at this moment, just severe thunderstorm warnings. But still, you should be inside, away from windows and doors while these are rolling through. So here's a look at what we're dealing with those thunderstorms. And it's a line of severe thunderstorms basically stretching here from around and south of Salem down towards Mount Vernon, and then back west towards Nashville, Illinois, and then a little farther to the south from there. So this is basically all that we're dealing with here, is these severe thunderstorm warnings and the residual rainfall and the flash flood warnings that are in effect for some of these places too. So this is going to be an ongoing thing that we have to deal with for the next hour with the severe thunderstorms, and then beyond that, the flooding is going to continue a little bit longer. So let's get a little bit closer here into our area. The rain starting to show signs of tapering off a little bit here as we get west of St. Louis. But here's the radar and the areas that we're concerned about, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the stronger storms. There's one there just east of Nashville. There's one there that's close to Salem, up northeast of Centralia. Both of those are pretty strong storms. So there might be a couple of instances where we're dealing with some hail there. I want to show you, and I'm going to pop this down. Give me just a split second. Just from a warning standpoint, these are our severe thunderstorm warnings and the severe thunderstorm watches. Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warnings north of Mount Vernon, back to Nashville, up to Salem, including Centralia, in that area. So those are our severe thunderstorm warnings. That brown shade is the severe thunderstorm watch, which is still in effect. All right, here's the radar over those areas in the last hour. Lightning bolts are on there, so there's a fair amount of lightning. You notice if you're kind of just looking at it here, you're finding that this whole, this whole area, this did it to me again. This whole area here, this storm's just kind of rotating. So it has its own energy kind of swinging through here. I don't know that it's going to be capable of producing tornadoes. This is a very broad rotation, but that's indicative of a disturbance that's going to push on to the east. So we look down in here and just kind of drill down a little bit deeper. And we'll stop the looping. The strongest part of this storm here is over towards Hoyletown, down towards Beaucoup, Ashley, and Richview, right along Interstate 64. So when you're looking at this driving, this would not be driving along Interstate 64 here through Washington County. That is going to be pretty rough go with that kind of rainfall falling at this point, okay? And we're not going to say that there's a whole lot better going up and down 57 here in the next few minutes as you go north up across a good chunk of Marion County, Salem northbound. It's pouring rain there as well. Now, as far as the hail goes, we haven't seen a whole lot of hail per se. Not that there isn't some in here, but it looks like the largest of that would be right along 64, of course. So, you're going over here towards the Ashley exit, the Highway 51 exit. Yeah, that's where probably the worst of the hail is, because that's where the strongest part of the storm is right now. It's also putting down huge amounts of rain. So we also have flash flood warnings for part of Marion County and into the southeastern half of Clinton County and all of Washington County. So our farm fields are saturated, and they are filling up with water with these storms as they're moving through these areas. Again, if I look at the rainfall, the estimated, let's do the last 12 hours or so. and you can see, you know, that's some pretty substantial rainfall. And the radar is indicating here west of Nashville that the last 12 hours, that's a 3.3 inch rainfall. That's a lot. And the same goes true down here in, you know, southern portions of Jefferson County, 2.5 inches there. So there has been some pretty substantial rain with these thunderstorms. Obviously, we had some that came through this morning with the substantial rainfall as well. So we are still continuing to see all this rain sliding through the region. And the greatest threat for severe weather off to our south and east. Carbondale under a severe thunderstorm warning. Really, most of Interstate 57, south from Ren Lake onto the south, all the way down to, almost to the Ohio River, has a severe thunderstorm warning along it. And that cell down there, those cells look a little more potent than these cells. Not to say that we're not going to spin something up here, but as we just kind of look around, I mean, the reality is we're not seeing as bad of wind in these storms and as much of circulations as what we were seeing before. There's still some there, sure, but they're pretty broad, so they don't look as impressive as they did. And that's okay. We don't want them to be too impressive. But now we got to deal with, you know, potentially some hail, potentially some 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts, and I'm not sure if this is going to give me a, yeah, well, good. And there's the back edge of the rain trying to come into St. Louis too. So this is what we've got going right now. Again, we're focused on that this afternoon, but I wanted to let you know that, you know, we do have the severe thunderstorm warning for northern portions of Jefferson County, southern, south central portions of Marion County in Illinois, southeastern portions, as far southeastern portions of Clinton County. I think most of the severe weather is going to miss Clinton County. Not that you're not having a strong storm. And then the eastern portions of Washington County. And Clinton, Washington, Marion counties, we do have flash flood warnings for those areas as the rain is ramping up there and it's falling on already saturated ground. So we're going to be dealing with that for a good chunk of the afternoon. So we'll put you back into our stream and keep that going for you. But I wanted to let you know, since we do have these new warnings that just came out, what was going on. And we'll just keep updating you throughout the afternoon hours.
you.